Commercial boats with engines churning and outriggers straddling travel in and out of the narrow harbor carrying meager and bountiful catches of the day. A fisherman's sustenance in the small town of Seaford, Maine reflects the life in rundown shacks shrouded in mist and fog brought on by cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Walking down Main Street in the center of town, two large mansion homes on the hill inhabited by the wealthy shipowners accent the landscape and emphasize the contrast with the surrounding shacks that illustrate the paltry existence of the deckhands and their families. Aberlost, born to John and Esther in a ramshackle home on that cold December night in 1974, grew up the son of an inept fisherman. Aber's lowly existence clashed with his inquisitive and motivated disposition. These characteristics separated him from the other children, whose dreams consisted of being the best fishermen in the village. Becoming the best fisherman in the As he aged, the frustration with his lifestyle grew, and he delved into the evils of drug abuse, which resulted in addiction. How can I get there? He asked himself about the houses up on the hill. Suddenly, a spark lit in his head, leading him out of Seaford and into Columbia University, where he studied economics and finance, subjects foreign to the likes of the uneducated fisherman. Aber's success in school led to employment in a large bank on Wall Street, where he embraced the elaborate lifestyle of his fellow brokers. His day began at the gym, where he worked on his muscular physique, followed by a latte at Starbucks, after work a drink at the local pub, then home to his loft apartment in the village. As the days passed, Aber became more estranged from the life of his parents and his roots, and he began to despise the wretched low-lifers that inhabited his childhood town. How proud he was of his rags to riches story and the success he has made with his Success can be short-lived. When the economy shrinks, the stock market plunges, and a recession hits. Riding high off the swell of success, Aber never accounted for the fall of the market, the loss of his job, and the subsequent change in lifestyle. Fortunately, Aber's intelligent savings and investments afforded him a hefty savings, allowing him to retire and pursue other ventures. As he pondered his future, his thoughts turned to the mansion on Main Street that had recently hit the real estate market. How great it would be to return and rub those paupers' noses in his awesome success. 40 years old and retired, he thought. Aber purchased the home, and his parents were ecstatic with their son's anticipated. Aber set out on his trek home, filled with amusement at the irony of his intended return. In a short while he would find himself back in the throes of the miserable folks of Seaford, but now he could admire the beautiful setting of his seaside town from his newly acquired abode. As he approached the town, he squinted to clear his eyes against the bright sunshine and the banners and cheers of townfolks. A knot of disgust rose in his stomach from the thought that they could be so trivial as to celebrate his arrival. Passed, and Aber settled into his new role as the wealthiest man in town, but he needed more and decided to rid the town of the most dilapidated shacks, especially those closest to him. The ease of his plan excited him, and wouldn't be any different than bilking the poor and middle-class clients when he worked on Wall Street. His parents' neighbor, Cyrus Gloucester, formed a committee to entice Aber to run for town's mayor. Gloucester touted his education, knowledge, and compassion as disqualifications to deliver Seaford into an economic boom. The election transpired, and Aber won by a landslide, vowing to bring fame and fortune to Little Seaford. But Aberlost had changed, and no one could have imagined the troubles that the future would bring to this small community. Aber's first official act condemned and declared eminent domain on the properties of 80-year-old Mr. Baker and 90-year-old Mrs. Smith, leaving them homeless. Then took aim at the rundown shops on Main Street. His efficiency and cruelness brought confusion, anxiety, and fear on the people of Seaford. Aber continued his rampage against the poor and destitute until the night he received a desperate call from his mother asking him to come home. The harsh winds and sun of the sea had taken a toll on the skin of his father, and on this night he was losing his long-fought battle against the ravagers of skin. Struggling to speak, his father called his name. Aber, I am a dying man. You have given me proud moments, but what you are doing to my town brings nothing but disappointment and shame. Every day I ask myself how I have failed in teaching you the important things in life. Money and status does not make you a decent man, but love, compassion, and earnings. A clean living leads a man to happiness. I plead with you to go out and change the world, but not with a cold heart, whispered his father. That night Aber cried over his father, filled with remorse for having disappointed him and for having lost the man that his father had hoped for. His chosen path in life was skewed by the influence of wealth, and along the way he abandoned the ethical fiber of the life of a simple man. With words of his father burning deeply in his brain, he set out to visit an affluent friend whose views paralleled those of his. Their conversation focused on their intent to change Seaford into a resort community for the rich. As his friend spoke, Aber stared into the face of his friend and saw a mirror image of himself. He sounds so cold and callous? His father was right. His heart had grown cold, and at that moment the realization occurred, and the metamorphosis began. Aber reached the dawn of a new day with a renewed desire to impact the world. He would find a way to better the lives of those in need, and teach the young to appreciate the intangible foundations of a happy life. No longer would he seek to destroy the less fortunate, but use his wealth to refurbish their homes and improve their quality of life. The roots of his moral fiber temporarily deserted him, but now he was determined to recover the renewed zeal.